Hi friends and welcome to another video of Just Being Honest. In today's video, we are going to be talking about how you should be managing your money like a football manager. But in this case, we are not going to be talking about football, but more about money. So when I check on the internet and search which are the best players for each position, so these are what I found from FIFA 2022, and these are the best players based on their position. But we are not going to go deep dive into this information because we are not talking about football today, but we are actually talking more about money. So regarding money management, so this is what you should be looking at in terms of how you should be managing your money. And we will go into the first player, which is your goalkeeper, and that is your emergency cash. So for your emergency cash, this is the most important player that you should have in your team, which is the goalkeeper. And for emergency cash, you should be making sure that you have sufficient amount of cash, such that in the event of an emergency, as what the name means, you are able to have the money to fork out. So for example, let's say if you go into a car accident and then you have to pay for damages, or for example, you need to fly overseas for some emergency matters and then you need to have the cash to pay for it. So you want to make sure that you have this pile of money set aside in place in your bank account so that in the worst case event you are unable to use any other resources except cash, then you have the cash available for you. Next is insurance. So for this, I mean, you there's no way to emphasize how important it is to have insurance, and everyone should have insurance, but do make sure that you are spending according to how much you can allocate for insurance. You don't want to be overspending on insurance and then you don't have enough money for your own needs or for other stuff. So do make sure that you look into your insurance, protect your downside first before you look into the upside. So do check out what are the things that you need to find out more about insurance and make sure that your insurance are settled. Next will be mortgage. So this will most likely applies to people who owns a property and they have bank loans to pay every month for their property loan. So for mortgage itself, what you want to do is to make sure that you have money to pay for this mortgage, because you don't want to be caught in a scenario where you do not have enough cash to pay your mortgage and then the bank will be so-called foreclosing on your property. So do make sure that you have enough cash available for your mortgage so that you do not face a scenario of the bank taking away your property because you are unable to pay off the mortgage. Next will be daily expenses. So I mean everybody need to spend money every day for their food, for their transport, for their utilities, for their phone bills, for their internet bills, for basically anything to keep a person alive for their daily expenses. So do make sure that you have also a part of money set aside for your daily expenses so that you have literally money to spend every day. So how you can look into allocating your money is two ways. You can do it in terms of having your income that comes in every month, then you split it according to the different buckets, or you can do it in another manner whereby you let you let the income that flows in to fill one bucket until the bucket is completed already, then you focus on the next one. So you can decide which strategy is best for you and see how it works out as well. So personally, I would prefer to go for the first strategy on the left side, which is to fill each bucket at the same time, so that to me if it gives me a sense of so-called maybe an achievement, seeing that the buckets are all being filled over time, rather than seeing one bucket is filled and then the rest are not being filled. Then sometimes it feels a bit worrying. So how much you should be looking at? So based on the Google search result, it says that the longest bear market in history occurred in 1973 to 1974, where it lasted for 630 days, which is about 21 months. So what I will actually do based on this data is to allocate 24 months uh, buffer of cash for the various buckets that we mentioned earlier. So technically, we are looking at about 2 years worth of emergency cash, 2 years worth of insurance to be paid, 2 years worth of daily expenses to be paid, and 2 years worth of mortgage to be paid. So, for example, let's say mortgage, if you have a mortgage of about uh, 1,000 a month, then you will want to have a reserve amount of 24,000. It can be CPF or cash set aside, so that in the event if you do not have an income for the next 2 years, you have this mortgage reserve that is able to pay off your mortgage loan for the next 2 years. So this is how I will look at planning my money management itself. So just to take note that, I mean, everyone's situation is different. You can see which one is suitable for you. There's no right or wrong answer to how you should be managing your money. You can just take everyone's opinion as a form of reference and see which one would be suitable for you. And I mean, end of the day, to each his own. There's no perfect answer to how you should be managing your money, but ideally you should be looking into it and hopefully starting off in setting up your money management. So that's all for today's video. Hope you learned something new. Do always remember to make smarter financial decisions every day. Have a great day ahead, and bye bye.